The recent developments in the world of technology have pointed to this one particular tool that is on the lips of everybody, and that is the GPT-4, powered by OpenAI. It is the successor of ChatGPT and GPT-3, and OpenAI has gone on to say that this particular tool is capable in terms of academic and professional abilities, and it can function at par with humans. And not only that, it has gone beyond the text generation that used to happen with ChatGPT, and you can ask queries with images on GPT-4. A Danish-based application which is called BeMyEyes, that is an accessibility tool for people with vision impairment, has planned on implementing GPT-4 in their application, with which users will be able to access instant identification, interpretation, and also virtual speech assistance. To discuss more about these recent developments is here with me Megha Patangi, who is an accessibility specialist. She is a certified professional when it comes to accessibility, and she works at Pegasystems India Limited. Hello, Megha.
Hello, Vijayalakshmi.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. So we are here to talk about accessibility and the artificial intelligence industry with focus on accessibility. So you have been working extensively in this industry, right? So can you tell us a bit about your experience working as an accessibility specialist?
Sure. So, working into the domain of accessibility, I started around 4 years ago.
Right.
Where it was my initial journey where I myself started learning and taking help of tech.
Right.
I was able to move ahead in my career,
Right.
which maybe down the line around 6 years ago, I would have never thought of.
Right.
So, I got this interest into accessibility because of various accessibility challenges which I myself faced during
Yes.
my education and when I wanted to start working. So
Right.
I started my journey as an accessibility tester. And because of my interest, very quickly within my first year, I was able to complete one certification, learned what are the various tools to be used to perform my day-to-day accessibility testing processes.
Right.
Of course, since I myself is a person with visual impairment,
Right.
I find that I myself is the best user to test because I have that native experience which I can bring on the table.
Absolutely.
If anybody else would be using these tools, might be they will be only checking against the compliance checklist which is laid down on the paper.
Correct.
But where are the soft and the subjective aspects? So with
Absolutely.
this, my journey began and I started learning, and then I also started sharing my learnings with others. So I started taking internships,
Right.
engaging more and more people with disability into the organization, and then I wanted to move ahead for
Right.
greater opportunity, and I came into Pegasystems. Now my responsibility is from the design phase,
Right.
so working with designers, understanding the designs, whether we are compliant at the design level itself, so that
Right.
we are not understanding the accessibility barriers in the later stage, because if we do that, then lots of cost is involved
Absolutely.
to go ahead and backdrop the bugs and fix them,
Right.
right? So I work with designers and then also work with front-end and UI teams of Pega to communicate the right expectation, work with them to understand that how assistive technology will behave or interact.
Right.
And then finally, when the components are adopted on application layer, so I give a final touch there, educate the QA engineers that what has to be tested, how it has to be tested.
Thank you so much for taking us through your journey and your experience at Pegasystems and the kind of work that you have been doing, right? It's quite commendable because as someone who's going through these challenges yourself, you might have had more insights and experience into, how you can make this work for other people with disabilities, right? Especially with
Right.
vision impairment.
Right.
A little while ago, I spoke about this application called BeMyEyes, and they are planning on implementing GPT-4, which is the recent AI-powered tool. So how do you think implementing tools like these will enhance accessibility tools like BeMyEyes?
So, taking you through a little behind, couple of years ago when I wasn't aware of tech, as I explained in my introduction. So, back then, when I started introducing myself towards tech, I understood its power. And then, Be My Eyes was one of the tools which I started using
Right.
long back. So I have extensively used that for multiple purposes. So when I face some challenges on my laptop, so if anything related to Microsoft-based softwares and applications, or maybe one day I remember I was having hard time using Google Drive.
Right.
So we can take direct assistance to the customer care centers of these companies directly. And then there has been times where one day I was alone at home and my entire family had gone somewhere. And I wanted to use washing machine. Sounds so simple.
Right.
But when the entire buttons of that washing machine, each button is sensor based, it's really difficult for a person with visual impairment to understand that when we are pressing, whether our fingers are on the right position or not,
Right.
and whether we are actually choosing the right water level or not. Things so simple, but with impairment doesn't seem so.
Yes. Yes.
So this is one of the example. And then second time, when I have been staying outside for some official work in hotels, now I want to match my dress, that I want to wear a formal outfit, but then I have different combinations. Which one will go good for the occasion
Right.
and the right combinations? So in all these critical situations, I have taken assistance from BeMyEyes. And when now I see tools like GPT-4,
Right.
generative AI getting integrated, I can see it is going to be revolutionary and going to
Right.
be a game changer for the lives of people with visual impairment.
Right.
Like, for example, now many a times when we go out and we are in restaurants, we have menu cards, but it's difficult to read those menu cards.
Right.
It will be, I am assuming that when it is integrated and the features are available, it will be so easy that we can scan and can get the text output through that, right?
Absolutely.
Secondly, many times, like especially with respect to movies, I can see that today lots of movies are coming with audio description, but what about old movies, which did not had audio description at that generation? I feel that with generative AI and GPT-4 being integrated in such tools will enable us that we just provide the movie and we get the entire audio description generated out of it. So we don't
Yes.
wait for anybody else or human intervention to create and provide that audio description embedded. So I feel that these tools are really going to empower people with visual impairment, and then not only visual impairment. There are many tools similar to BeMyEyes catering to the needs of people with other disabilities. So
Right.
it will empower the entire community.
So in terms of the practical uses of, AI powered tools, you have given us a lot of information as to how it's going to work for people with visual impairment, right? That was very insightful. But almost always when you are implementing AI powered tools like these in applications for accessibility, there might be certain pitfalls that would come with it, right? So what do you think could be the potential pitfalls for companies that develop accessibility tools, and how can they navigate through those disadvantages, so to speak?
One prospect pitfall which I have encountered, and I also assume comes with tech, quite obvious, because when technical advancements are happening, there
Right.
will be a couple of things which will fall apart or might not be taken care because advancement is really happening fast. So something which recently I observed, that when content is generated out of these AI-based tools, powered AI-based tools, these content itself is sometimes not accessible or
Right.
in a consumable state. For example, might be there will be no heading structure.
Right.
There will be buttons, but there will be no labels for the buttons. And sometimes the color contrast which will be used is difficult for people with color blindness to consume those.
Right.
So this is very common, and I don't feel at present, or I don't consider rather to be it as a pitfall. I feel that this is an opportunity.
Right.
When such pitfalls happen, this actually opens again a new sphere, a new horizon for the authors to think more and be better.
Moving on to the next question, not just with visual impairment, but people with different kinds of disabilities, right? They have certain day to day challenges that have still not been addressed by technology. So, what are some of these challenges that people are encountering even today? and what kind of research is being done to, probably find solutions for problems like these?
Right. So I would like to talk about a specific limitation or disability here, which is not so explored till now. And a lot of research is going on and yet still needed to be done to empower these people. So talking about people who have cognitive limitation or
Right.
learning disability.
Right.
And it is very difficult to even define what we can call as a cognitive limitation. Like even you and me sitting here, your cognitive capabilities would be different from mine.
Right.
So which one can we take it as standard? There is no standard.
Right.
Content which is available on internet. So many people are consuming it, right? And people are diverse. The situations in which they are is diverse.
Right.
Their capabilities are diverse. So this is one of the challenge that the content sometimes is very complicated for people to consume. Maybe
Right.
people who are new to internet or maybe elderly people, they are not having any disability, right?
Yeah.
But still, they do not have that cognitive abilities to consume. One example I would like to give here is like data visualization.
Right.
People who are working day-to-day activities, they have to deal with lots of data in the form of, say, for example, charts, graphs, right, to analyze. Because data is very important and there are so many different ways to identify data. There are so many different ways to analyze this data.
Right.
So if we talk about accessibility, we can call it like, oh, it's so simple. Just give an alternative text to that graph or chart
Right.
and give a supporting table or a textual information and it's done. But it's not as simple as that.
Exactly.
This is provided by one person, assuming that this is enough. But is it really enough for everyone? No.
Right.
Everybody would like to consume in different way. So this is something a lot of research around data visualization is going on and how these generative AI tools can actually work around, collect data and convert into simpler language for people to consume.
Right. I think it's safe to say that, one size fits all. That concept kind of has taken a hit when it comes to, people facing challenges in accessibility front, right? That is what
Yeah.
we've been discussing all this while.
Right.
So we've gotten enough information about, accessibility challenges and what kind of things AI tools can do when it comes to addressing these, right? Now let's move on to Pegasystems and the kind of tools that you have implemented here for accessibility. Now you have something called a WAIA, that's WAI ARIA, right? It's a particular standard that you will have to adhere to when you are building accessibility tools for
Right.
people with disabilities. And at Pegasystems, you have something called accessibility roles in connection with ARIA, right? So can you tell us more about how this works?
Right. ARIA, which as you said stands for ARIA, Accessibility Rich Internet Application. So these are basically a set of properties, roles, attributes, which is provided to UI elements and that helps assistive technology to communicate with these UI elements.
Right.
So as I said earlier that I am involved in training other people. So
Right.
I try and use some simpler examples to explain them and probably I would like to use the same here.
Sure.
That if we get inside our flat, consider that you have purchased a new flat and you're getting inside it. So now you know that which is bedroom, which is kitchen, which is washroom, which is living area. How come? Based upon the design, the native design, right? What we call as standards that, oh, washroom will look like this,
Right.
kitchen will look like this, and we give names to them, right? But consider now you have some extra space in your same flat
Right.
and you want to utilize it. You can utilize it in any way. Now
Yes.
you want it to be it as a home theater or maybe a play zone for a kid. So you customized it. But after customization, will you simply call it as, oh, this was an extra space? No.
No. I would
You
give
will
it a specific name, right?
correct, right. So that is what ARIA roles does.
Okay.
So ARIA itself says don't use ARIA. You know, so
The irony.
so
Yeah.
the reason behind is they say that as much possible, try and implement native. Because when we talk about native, everything comes by default. It
Right.
itself is rich with accessibility. Why to customize?
Right.
But when we talk about Pega, where we are working towards giving solutions to the complex problems,
Right.
right? So of course, solutions, how to create these solutions, the process is also a little complex.
Right.
So everything cannot be achieved via native.
Yeah.
Custom controls, custom solutions are needed. And when we create these custom solutions, a lot of dynamic content comes into picture, dynamic layouts come into picture, and these require roles. So roles are assigned to them, and these are assigned out of the box. So
Right.
these are part of accessibility WAI rules which Pega implements or uses. So that our customers then, they don't need to take care or think or worry about it. So it's
Right.
all taken care out of the box,
Right.
adhering to the needs of accessibility.
Talking about this particular tool that you have at Pegasystems, it's called the Accessibility Inspector, right? It helps people using accessibility tools identify and rectify any potential mistakes that could happen on the application. So can you tell us more about how this Accessibility Inspector works?
Sure. So when I joined Pega an year ago, I came to know about this accessibility inspector being developed by Pega.
Right.
And it's a cool tool. I really loved it. Usually, like industries, what they do is they take advantage of the tools which is available,
Right.
open source into the market. But Pega took this initiative to develop their own tool, and which was a great learning curve for Pega. So what this tool does is it's integrated into the authoring layer of our authoring platform,
Right.
and is also shipped to customers. So it basically helps our citizen developers
Right.
to test accessibility compliance both on design time as well as runtime. So it will run, so immediately, since it is integrated into the developing authoring tool, so as soon as they run the accessibility inspector, it will flag multiple things. Now what multiple things? Number one, using this inspector, they can view, there is something called disability views.
Okay.
So using this, they can view the UI based upon how people with different color blindness can view this. So
Right.
they can identify that the color which or the themes which they have chosen, is it really adhering to the compliances or what actually the end user will perceive,
Right.
Moving ahead, it also flags different categories of issues, whether it is content related, means whether the controls have proper labels, whether the labels are making sense, it is descriptive, errors are provided or not. It will also flag structural issues like whether the semantics are provided correctly, like heading hierarchy is there or not,
Right.
whether proper regions are used or not.
Right.
Moving ahead, it also flags certain interaction-based issues like keyboard access related issues, focus order related issues.
Right.
So adding a last point to this, when further they deep dive into that, it also identifies which specific rule is actually causing these issues. So
All
it
right.
enhances the capability of our authors, citizen developers, to quickly go ahead and can fix that.
So this is something that happens on the go, right? So you will spot the errors and fix it on the go.
Yes, on the go. So at the time of development stage itself, it's not like on a later stage when the entire application is built and then you are running it for testing. No.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to know that. Thank you so much for sharing those insights about Pega tools. So companies that provide accessibility solutions, right? I'm pretty sure they face certain challenges in terms of implementation of the tools that they create, especially with focus on AI implementation, right? So how can companies approach these problems?
Right. So AI-powered tools definitely enables to automate lots of processes where initially the testings has to be done manually,
Right.
which eases out the process, cost efficient and productive and time efficient as well. But there are still aspects, subjective aspects, where is usability aspects, which at present we are not able to automate, and research is going on. So
Right.
when I say subjective aspect, Um, Maybe as per the compliance checklist, we are doing great.
Right.
But as we were discussing earlier, that for people with visual impairment or cognitive disability, human resources diverse. Their situations, their needs, their intellectual level, everything is diverse. Just meeting the compliance checklist is not enough.
Right.
So here, lots of research, usability study is required. And I think with these study, when we get output, we will be able to train AI more and more, and it will in turn help us to automate the processes which are not at present.
So, like you had mentioned before, you have been working extensively with Pegasystems in the accessibility front, right? So, when I was going through your profile, I came across an interesting information about how, you decided to take a special interest in tech engineering because of the problems that you were facing every day. You come from a finance background, if I am
Right,
not wrong.
right.
Yeah. So, what was that one challenging moment or that one incident that pushed you to make this decision and learn a lot of different things about tech engineering so that you can help people like yourself with vision impairment and other people with disabilities?
Sure. So it has to be one challenge only?
Not one challenge only. It can be, a list of things that led you to make that
Right,
decision,
right.
right? Yeah.
So I asked this question because it was not one moment or one challenge which triggered me to come here, but it itself was like a journey. When I was in graduation and I was facing the deterioration in my eyesight, I started facing challenges in completing my education. And then, as you said, that yes, I am from a finance background as a qualified company secretary. So when I was pursuing this, even that time, since I wasn't aware of solutions, tech solutions. So I faced a lot of challenges. Post completing my education, I went for an internship, and on the very first day, I encountered that sitting in front of desktop and even scanning pages is difficult for me.
Right.
Moving ahead, when I came to know about tech, immediately when I learned screen readers, within 3 months, I got placed. And
Right.
that was an eye opening for me that after sitting at home for 6 years, when I lost my complete confidence, tech was something which enabled me again,
Right.
empowered me, gave me an opportunity to dream again, to create a career for me again.
Right.
There was again one more incident which helped me to understand that how important it is to take help of tech. So when I was into my job prior to Pega,
Right.
I need to travel and on my own, and I wasn't so familiar about these GPS devices or how can I track my way and how can I book vehicles. I was very scared.
Right.
And slowly and gradually, when I learned, I felt that I am so confident now because I remember the day when I was not sure whether I should go for that opportunity or I should step back because I am not confident. I
Right.
took the challenge, and because I took the challenge, I am here in Pega today.
Right.
So these incidences actually made me think that okay, I could not make my career in the finance background, but then tech is something which empowered me, and
Right.
I want to use the same tech to empower others within my community.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. It's quite surprising and shocking at the same time as to, what are those things that can challenge people with disabilities in everyday life, right? So the kind of challenges you faced was what pushed you to take this decision. And for once, it's so nice to hear that tech has actually helped you because with all of the conversations going on about chat GPT and GPT-4, people are worried that tech is going to take away jobs, right? So this is a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on accessibility tools and for sharing your personal journey as well. So if you can just demonstrate, a tool that you use in your everyday life to navigate all of the daily activities, it would be really interesting to see that. So can we get to that?
Sure,
Yeah.
definitely, I would love to.
Yeah. Thank you.
So To perform my day-to-day job, I use screen reading softwares, and I will be demonstrating how using these softwares I perform my day-to-day job, like searching something on browsers, testing applications, using chat applications or meeting tools. So I have opened a browser, Chrome browser, because of course every day the task begins here whenever we need to research about something or read about the accessibility requirements or what can be done better to solve any solution. So I have opened the page, and as you can hear the screen reader sound, this is an assistive tool for me to perform my day-to-day task, as well as you can also call it as an accessibility testing tool as well to perform manual testing. So screen reader can be used with the help of various screen reader key commands. So as I said that I have opened the browser and opened one page. So let me check that which browser and which page I am on. And I use the command for it. Okay, so this is WCAG Web Initiatives from W3C, which I have opened. And this is the usual speed I keep to perform or to go through the content. Then I navigate through the page to understand, maybe using the heading structure. And if I want to navigate through the interactive elements, I can do tab. Right. So this is how screen reader helps me to basically navigate, browse, interact with the content which is there on the website. Same screen reader also helps me to check my emails. It also helps me to use various chat tools within my organization. One demo I can show is about Zoom, which I use sometimes to connect with our customers. So I will be opening Zoom. Okay. So there is some offer. Let me close this. Yep. So I am just looking for the control. How can I start the meeting? Notification center button. Zoom Megha Patangi status available. Free account button drop down. Upgrade offer experience unlimited meetings. Upgrade today. Link. Close button. Enter. Back in chat left there. Home plus left right. Corner of the chat left. History button drop. Search control plus F. Home tab selected. Notification set. Zoom Megha Patangi status. Setting button. Start a new meeting with video off button. Yeah. Start a meeting. Enter. Zoom. Meeting duration. You are connected to computer audio. So that it is telling me that my audio is unmuted, my video is off, and I have just one participant. So these were the information provided as soon as I logged into Zoom. But later on also, as soon as people will be joining in, I will keep on getting notifications. And again, now if I want to end the meeting. Enter Zoom meeting. Return to meeting button. Title is Zoom. Let me close Zoom window. Yeah, I am back on Chrome, and now I am looking for Dragon. So what I want to use it for dictation and commands, I have kept it now. I will try to use it. Tab. Press enter. Press. Web content accessibility guidelines left there WCAG right there 2.2. Web content accessibility guidelines left there WCAG right there 2.2. Page has 44 regions, 300 settings and 1047 links there are 20 smart glass highlights on this page. Heading level 4 success criteria 4.1.1 parsing left there not deleted remove right there. Visit the same page link permanent for section 4.1.1. Left there not deleted. Microphone off. Tab. Yeah, it did not work because I switched off the microphone so that I can speak with others.
Thank you so much for taking us through the everyday tools that you use, Megha. It was very interesting to know how life works for someone with disability, right? So, apart from that, you've also shared amazing insights throughout the course of the interview. Thanks for that as well. And thank you for taking time out of your schedule for this. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi,
Yes.
for giving this opportunity to explain and express.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
With that, we come to the end of this episode of the Imagination Sessions. I'm Vijayalakshmi signing off along with Megha. Bye.